Hello, everybody. Welcome to my class. I am Dr. Yashurai Tayal from Dayanand College, Hisar. Today, we will discuss with you R.K. Narayan's novel, The Guide. So, let's start with introduction. R.K. Narayan is one of the most important novelists of India, along with Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao. The three were important figures of their generations who put Indian literature in English on the world map. R. K. Narayan's novels show his keen observations about Indian social life. The Guide has also been made into a successful film by Devanand. The novel shows how Narayan uses the characters of Rosie and Raju to bring home the point that criminality never pays. R.K. Narayan's novel The Guide is the story of a man named Raju who comes from a small village in India called Malgudi. Malgudi itself does not exist. This fact gives Narayan's novel the feeling of a fable or fantasy. Raju's life is predicated on a series of self-deceptions which eventually lead the character down a road of confusion, loss of self, and then to spiritual transformation and awakening. If I talk of theme, the theme revolves around Raju's failure to fulfill the moral responsibilities of being a guide, that is, to show the true path and interpret it correctly. The Guide is written in 1958. Like most of his works, the novel is based in Malgudi, the fictional town in South India. The novel describes the transformation of the protagonist, Raju, from a tour guide to a spiritual guide. Now let's talk about important characters in the novel, The Guide. First important character is Raju. Raju, the protagonist of the novel, seems to have a dual personality. His character can be explored in different phases in the novel. As a tourist guide, he tells lies and cheats the tourist for his personal benefit. Even when he doesn't have the knowledge about a certain place, he makes ambiguous statements about it and never says no. However, he does this to make their trip more enjoyable and meaningful. By his wit, eloquence, knowledge, and common sense, he impresses the tourist and comprehends their needs. If I talk of Raju Rosie relationship, in his relationship with Rosie, he is morally corrupt, self centered, possessive, jealous, and exploits her both emotionally and monetarily, but at the same time, he gives her what she could not get from her husband, while her husband always ignores and humiliates her. And when he even forsakes her, Raju remains very warm, caring, and understanding, recognizes her innate dancing talent, motivates her to become a renowned dancer, and adds a new meaning to her life. However, this relationship spoils his entire career and life. As Marco's guide, on one hand, Raju is very cooperative, affable, and helps him at every step. But on the other hand, he tries every strategy to seduce his wife. When Raju forges Rosie's signature, he is declared a criminal. However, the behavior of this criminal in the prison is ideal. He helps everyone, keeping them busy and in high spirits. He is very close and deeply attached to his mother. He sobs and cries when she leaves him, but when it's time to choose between Rosie and his mother, he goes for Rosie. Now let's talk about Raju's role as a saint. When the role of a saint is thrust upon him, He is more of a hypocrite, exploiting the honesty and simplicity of the innocent villagers. He is perfectly acting his part, making impressive aphoristic statements, getting free food and respect, and dealing strategically with the cold situation to avoid the palace. But at the same time, he seems to work like a philanthropist for the well being of the villagers. The collective blind faith of the villagers transform him. He forgets that he is an actor playing a role. The role becomes a reality when he gets ready to become a martyr for the cause of the villagers. Raju possesses a unique capacity to adapt himself to all kinds of situations. He is a genial, self-made man, extrovert, loves life, and lives every moment as it comes to him. The dichotomy in this character seems very complex but sustains the interest of the reader throughout the novel. Next important character is Rosie. Rosie, a very charming and attractive lady, belongs to the family of Devdasis, a postgraduate in economics, marries Marco, and considers herself to be fortunate as her husband belongs to upper strata of society. As Marco's wife, she is very devoted, warm, and caring, but very soon she discovers that their interests are poles apart. She chooses a different kind of life for herself, but remains emotionally attached to her husband even after he deserts her. Later on, she feels guilty that she has betrayed her husband's trust. Even while staying with Raju, she constantly thinks of Marco, cuts his picture from a weekly magazine, and pastes it on her mirror. When she leaves Malgudi, she sells all her possessions except the most precious thing, that is Marco's book, which she carries with her. Rosie's passion for dance is so strong that she drifts towards Raju and is indifferent to the fact that Raju is exploiting her. Her own perseverance and Raju's motivation makes her a very successful dancer, and for this she is grateful to Raju. Although she hates Raju for his act of forgery, yet she is determined to spend her entire fortune for his legal battle. She has given up dancing, but just to raise funds for Raju, she takes up dancing again. She breaks down when she goes to meet Raju in the prison. This shows that she is a good human being. Even though Rosie has committed adultery, the reader seems to like her for her strong determination to achieve her goal, for her indifference to the materialistic values of life, and for her vitality, warmth, passionate, and cooperative nature. Next character, Marco. Marco, Rosie's husband, is an is a researcher totally dedicated to the study of culture and art. He is so much engrossed with the dead and decaying things that he has no time to spare for his living wife, who is a true embodiment of art. He seems to be a typical man of a patriarchal society who wants Rosie only to be a very caring housewife, catering to the needs of the family and living like his shadow, with no identity of her own. He has a very traditional mindset. He doesn't consider dancing as a great art, but demeans it by equating it with street acrobatics. He thinks that a woman belonging to a good family should not become a dancer. Warmth, understanding, and compromising nature, qualities which are requirements for a successful conjugal life, are lacking in him. At the same time, he feels that the most important thing in a good relationship is trust. When Rosie accepts the fact that she has adulterous relation with Raju and sincerely begs for his forgiveness, he abandons her, as she has betrayed his trust. He is very honest and sincere too. He acknowledges his gratitude to Raju in his newly published book, even though Raju has cheated him. He even returned Rosie's jewelry. However, he informs the police about Raju's act of forgery because he wants to teach him a lesson for seducing his wife. So we can see that Marco is an introvert, self centered, slightly conservative, eccentric, harsh, but a righteous man. Next character is Valen. Valen is a naive, innocent, simple, honest, clear hearted, and illiterate villager. He is the first person whom Raju encounters sitting beside an ancient shrine. Raju's style of speech makes Valen feel that he is above ordinary, or we can say a godly man, so he confides in him. On getting logical and philosophical answers to his problem, he becomes Raju's sincere disciple and makes the credible villagers also do the same. Valen's blind faith in Raju does not shake even when he tells him the truth about his past life. He has a grave expression on his face, but he continues to regard him as a saint. He, along with the other villagers, is superstitious enough to believe that the fast of a pure hearted saint can bring rain. He observes a symbolic fast along with him. As Swamiji's health deteriorates, he gets extremely concerned. It is Velan's blind faith which brings about a transformation in Raju, who very sincerely resolves to sacrifice his life for the innocent villagers. As the novel begins with Raju's talks with Velan, it ends also with Swami. Raju's last word to him, Velan, is it is raining in the hills. Next character, Raju's mother. Although minor character, Raju's mother is a typical mother of the patriarchal Indian society. She is totally devoted towards her family and fulfills her responsibilities with utmost care. She is very affectionate, grooms up her son Raju as a pampered child, and narrates tales to him from Indian epics. She cooperates with her husband and at times acts like a nagging wife. She is a very religious lady also, reads prayers and sits before God in meditation. When Rosie comes to stay with them, initially she is compassionate and hospitable. However, later on, as she doesn't approve of Raju Rosie relationship, she speaks harshly to her and tries every trick to drive her out of the house. When she decides to leave Raju, she is very sad and there is extraordinary consideration in her voice when she advises him to be very careful about his health. She is distraught when Raju is imprisoned. She is a kind hearted, considerate lady, empathizes with the pain of others, but cannot tolerate wrong things. Now, next character, Raju's maternal uncle. Raju's maternal uncle drops like a bolt from the blue in the novel. He is physically strong, a big landowner, and a kind of journal advisor and director of Raju's important family matters. He is very stern, a strict man. Raju used to be scared of him even in his childhood. He is called by Raju's mother to admonish Raju and help her to get rid of Rosie. He is contemptuous of Raju-Rosie relationship. He warns Raju to drive away Rosie from their house and threatens him with dire consequences using very harsh and abusive language. When he doesn't succeed in his attempt, he asks his sister to accompany him to his village. He says that as long as he is alive, he will never let his sister down. He proves himself to a very responsible, caring, and affectionate brother. Now, next part, that is brief summary of the guide. The central theme of the novel The Guide by R.K. Narayan is the transformation of Raju from his role as a tour guide to that of a spiritual guide. The title of the novel The Guide has a double meaning. And Raju is, in a sense, a double character. As a tour guide and lover, he is impulsive, unprincipled, and self indulgent. After his imprisonment and after his transformation as a holy man, he is careful, thoughtful, and self disciplined. The guide opens with the release of the protagonist Raju from prison and taking refuge in the old temple on the banks of river Saryu. Unable to face the people of Malgudi, Raju is hiding to live in secrecy. Before his imprisonment, he was a public figure, and because of his brilliant wit, he was able to play several roles: a corrupt tourist guide, an adulterous lover, and the theatre manager. Having lived the life of an adventurer, he eventually sacrificed his life as a saint, a new Mahatma, as the people around him say, for the sake of rural community. Raju, the guide, is destined to be a guide by chance and temperament. By chance, he becomes a tourist guide when he gets in charge of the railway shop, buys papers and old books to wrap up articles, read books and papers to pass away his time, gathers information about Malgudi, never says no, gives false information, successfully cheats tourists, and becomes famous as the tourist guide. In fact, he says to Velen, "It was not because I wanted to utter a falsehood, but because I wanted to be pleasant." His role as a lover and stage manager is highly appreciable. After he seduced Rosie, he was dismissed by her because of her guilt and Marco's knowledge of them. He is obsessed with her, but he doesn't pursue her. Rosie comes to her own house as she was deserted by Marco. His love for her motivates him to take care of her physical and artistic needs. The storage of money and Rose's devotion to dance compels him to organize a public performance for her. As a result of her success and complete dedication to her profession, she becomes her manager and manages her business affair. He is living on her as a parasite, but he is also working hard to turn Rose's more or less strength into accepting the role. Being a capable actor, he plays the role of perfection. Being ignorant, he doesn't understand the basics of dance, but he understands Rosie's desire to be a dancer, and so he manages her affairs perfectly, financially. Rosie's obsession with dance, however, results in alienation and communication loss. Raju feels perplexed. His love, jealousy, and possessiveness make him hide Marco's book and copy the signature of Rosie. Basically, he doesn't want her to realize the generosity of Marco. This choice of his leads ironically to his imprisonment. In fact, he is so used to playing roles that he doesn't realize the extent of his act. When he sits lonely and bored near a dilapidated temple, a villager called Villain comes and tells him his trouble. The simple peasant is mistaken him for a Swami because there is actually something holy about Raju's appearance. He is sitting on a slab of granite. As the story reveals, Velen's respectful gaze at Raju, he chooses to sit 2 steps below the slab. Impressed by the holy appearance, Velen is encouraged to unburden himself, seeking advice and guidance. Rosie, on the other hand, Raju, on the other hand, is tempted to play the role of Swami because it was in his nature to get involved in other people's interesting activities. Raju fulfills the demand of the Mangal villagers. He was disconcerted by the devotion of the peasants who believed that a superior soul had come to live near their village. Ironically, Raju's old habit of offering guidance to others when he was a tour guide asserts himself when he wants to be honest this time. The special attention of the villagers makes him feel uncomfortable and so he wonders if he could devise some means to escape from this. His circle of devotees is bound to widen because he is believed to have worked a miracle on Valen's stepsister. As a result, it becomes the daily practice of Valen and his own. Now, after discussion of characters and uh, introducing brief summary of the novel The Guide, let's come to the analysis of the novel The Guide. We will discuss different aspects of the novel The Guide. Published in 1958, The Guide is the most acclaimed novel of R.K. Narayan that won him not only immense popularity but also the Sahitya Academy Award for 1960. Of all the Indian novelists writing in English, Narayan alone has the distinction of being a pure artist. Because he writes specifically for the aesthetic satisfaction and not for any ulterior motives like propagating his political or economic agendas. In all his novels, he presents a slice of life as he sees it, neutrally and justly. However, one must not presume out of this that Narayan doesn't have any vision of life. It only means that he doesn't construct his novels around an officious message. Consequently, his novels are entirely free from didactic tendencies. As we all know, Narayan is a penetrating analyst of human passions and human motives, which makes him a great critic of human conduct. He presents both the good and the evil and never takes sides. He holds a mirror to nature and, like a mirror, shows nature truthfully without any distortion. Despite this, he does take the pain to communicate that bad or evil actions lead to similar consequences and good actions yield good results. There is no doubt that Narayan's vision is essentially moral, for the problems he sets himself to resolve in his novels are largely ethical. Besides, it usually revolves around Hindu traditionalism in Narayan's works and involves a confrontation when that traditionalism is defied by the characters that entertain a more modern and more guilelessly individualistic value. Interestingly, in the guide also, Narayan's main character resists the traditional religious and familial duties and then drift towards destined doom because in Narayan's system, the aberration of disorder caused by the non adherence of norms definitely leads to adverse outcomes. However, as stated, Narayan's moral vision is not consciously cultivated in his writing. They are incidentally and inherently part of his art of storytelling and of the cultural environment, which is the background for all his stories. Thus, Narayan's message in the guide also has to be garnered by the readers themselves according to their own respective intentions. In the novel, the central character Raju encounters questions of traditional morality when he sets out to realize his dreams and aspirations. He doesn't care to abide by the social and moral norms when it comes to Rosie. He seduces Rosie, the other man's, Marco's wife, begins living with him, and thus violates a major conventional order. The whole society, including his own widowed mother, stands against him, but he puts a blind eye on the severity of the chaotic situation. He gets into financial trouble and becomes a kind of social outcast due to his relationship with Rosie, but he refuses to mend his ways and thus fails to bring order and harmony in his own life and his surrounding society. Raju's life becomes a total failure and he earns the wrath of everyone around him because he deals erratically with each one of around him or her. We can say that Narayan's human experience and compassion constitute a mature moral vision which is vitalized by his humorous narration and given depth by his acceptance of traditional and religious values which at various points in his narratives place his characters in moral relief. His humor discriminates between the permanent and the absurd. Thus, while Narayan gently mocks some peculiar, pretentious, or hypocritical attachments to traditional customs, or displays some of the inept congruities which result from a blunt attempt to amalgamate tradition and modernity, he indicates time and again that the traditional way provides the best guarantee of joy and fulfillment. In the novel, Raju is portrayed as an ordinary and not so great human being, and Narayan presents in a humorous yet serious vein his clumsy attempts at realizing his potential for greatness, and also the spectacle of his effort towards maturity that is spiritually enlightening and morally uplifting. We see Raju maturing before us by stages over a period of time. His self awareness is hardened, but not in the way in which a tragic character earns it. The cleansing takes place, no doubt, but not in the heroic strain. As Raju is not a hero, he is a kind of anti hero. Narayan does not show this common man reach the tragic height of Shakespeare's protagonist. Although Raju's self awareness and the sense of social and spiritual fulfillment that results from it in the end is something that astonishes us and elicits appreciation. Narayan's knowledge of Indian classical literature, philosophy, religion, morals, and ethics pervades his writing. But as said already, he doesn't burden unnecessarily his readers with discourses on his viewpoint and vision. This is perhaps because Narayan views life lapses not with any missionary kindness or zeal, but with the understanding and sympathy of an artist who acknowledges various compulsions and complexities of life and then describes them accordingly through his narrative modes. So, behind the narrative mask of his novels, Narayan attempts to portray a vision of life, a life of opposing dualities, of appearance and reality, beliefs and betrayals. According to S.C. Sharma and Virendra Kumar, and here I quote, Narayan uses myth as a technique to illustrate his moral vision of life. More interestingly, he always comes upon an ancient myth which enables him to express his view of the world and vision of life. For instance, Raju, in reenacting the penances of the sages of yore, is trying to bring rain to end the drought. This is reminiscent of the story of the sage king Bhagirath, who conducted several penances to bring down the goddess Ganga, a story found in both Ramayana and Matsya Purana. Like Narayan's other novels, the guide too begins with realistic settings and everyday happenings in the lives of a cross section of Indian society, with characters of all sections. Gradually, fate or chance, fault or blunder, transforms common events to fantastic happenings. Unexpected disasters befall the hero as easily as unforeseen good fortune. The characters accept their fates. That suggests the faith that things will somehow turn out happily. This, in a way, implies the basic viewpoint of the novelist and depicts the approach towards the life he seems to advocate. Raju, like a leaf, drifts away with the wind of circumstances. When he gets imprisoned, he is given a second chance and then hopes for a better tomorrow. Narayan has studied a character first on the test of social order, that is, in the context of his community, social environment. Secondly, he studies a character in relation to himself. Further analysis of the character's life restates the claim of their grounding in Indian moral and social value system. Even Narayan's comic vision too illuminates numerous significant themes like the place of women in traditional society, the moral limitations of a materialistic way of life, and the consequences of outraging accepted codes. Rosie is unlike the typical Indian heroines. She leaves her legitimate husband and begins staying with Raju. This act becomes the reason of her further distress. Narayan's fiction combines different facets of life and experience. Narayan views human relations, traditional values, and conventions as essential elements of an orderly human life. Besides, he also seems to believe that in order to attain harmony and peace in human life, it is very essential to give due attention to relationships because man is basically a social animal and relations give stability to his existence. The marital relationship between Marco and Rosie breaks down because in the beginning, Marco neglects Rosie, and later Rosie dares to break the chains and refuses to blindly respect the tradition of marriage. This severing of relationship brings emotional trauma in its wake. Both husband and wife eventually suffer and repent for not giving due regard to their mutual relationship. The relationship between Marco and Rosie in the guide is not based on conventional philosophical values as devised by Manu in Manu Samriti. Dedication, surrender, mutual respect, proper understanding. This couple doesn't share the ideal kind of bond and therefore their relationship does not become everlasting. And in Narayan's system is bound to bring doom. So we can see the role of traditional values and philosophical touch to human relationship has been emphasized by Narayan apparently in the guide too, like all other novels. Narayan presents the characters passing through a period of struggle and transformation, but towards the end they attain new vitality which provides them with a new explication of common situations. The normalcy in the life of Raju comes only because of his submission to traditional values and self realization. Further, Narayan's vision also embodies the great theory of order and disorder. He applies a pattern in almost all his novels, including The Guide. This pattern is found in the relationship between Raju and his mother, Marco and Rosie, and even Raju and Rosie. Order and peace prevails in these relationships in the beginning, but this order doesn't remain for a long time. These relationships do not attain any suitable dimension. Question is why? It is because the motives of the individuals involved in these relationships clash with each other and their viewpoints and attitudes differ from each other. When these characters comprehend the transit nature of human relationship based on selfishness and contrary purposes, the relationships split. But by the end, as they learn the lesson that traditional values are mandatory for any human being to achieve salvation and self realization, they attain spiritual calm and tranquility. Narayan shows that it is these values that help a person to maintain his or her equilibrium in times of discord, disagreement of motives, and conflict. For instance, when in the novel Raju, the worldly man turned into a Swami to perform the saintly act of penance, he negates the world of egoistical pleasure to seek in an act of goodness and God the ultimate goal of his life. It is interesting to note that although most of R.K. Narayan's characters have a grounding in the cultural life of their society and have deeply absorbed and assumed the philosophical ways of life, there are some who are outgoing and bold in their approach. Characters like Raju and Rosie, besides cherishing the ancient values and retaining the traditional ways of life, do not yet hesitate in bringing about a change, adopting and adapting to the modern ways of life. But thankfully, when they cross the line of social dignity in doing so, they are pulled back on the right path by twisted circumstances and situations. Narayan's fiction also represents his firm belief that crime never pays. Raju, being a cunning man, exploits Rosie, commercially as well as sexually, for his own personal gratification. He uses Rosie's talent to earn a fortune but wastes it in lavish living and bad habits. He becomes so mad in acquiring money that he reaches a point where he deceives Rosie and forges her signature, which lands him in the prison. This act of wickedness is not only a legal crime but also a crime against Rosie's innocence that has trusted Raju completely. Narayan Raju's fate signifies that one can never escape the consequences of his or her acts. Evidently, Narayan's stories also emphasize the spiritual view of self realization and moksha, which form an important subject in Indian philosophy too. The Bhagavad Gita and its karma philosophy regard self realization or enlightenment as the absolute goal of man's life. Man's soul ultimately acquires concert with God, and this unison gives him moral and intellectual perfection, transcending the distinction between good and evil, between doubt and faith, between being and non being. He becomes ready for his last release and attains the disposition of a saint. Narayan has very artistically interwoven these thoughts in his novels and especially The Guide. He has presented the theory of renunciation also and liberation or moksha in the guide through the character of Raju, the tourist guide. He is initially entrapped in the illusory world when the materialistic philosophy guides and governs his life. He forges the signature of Rosie and is accordingly punished for the crime and sent to the jail. His foul deeds have the obvious outcome. He receives his ill fate as per his evil actions. But during his stay in the prison, he finds time for his moral and social transgression. The prison provides him with an ideal opportunity to look into the innermost regions of his soul and shake off his material and social deceptions. Thereafter, Raju's character evolves gradually, but this evolution becomes a ceaseless and ongoing process. By the end of the novel, Raju attains that selfless state like a saint, which set the stage for his release from all the worldly shackles. So, to conclude, we can say the guide is the story of the protagonist's journey through life. It is his journey through a maze of illusions and the attainment of the ultimate universal truth. The concept of liberation has been underlined again and again in the novel, and the character of Raju becomes the most convenient vehicle for Narayan to elucidate human weaknesses and subsequent enlightenment. Human existence is nothing but the endeavor of individual self to become the pure being. The former is prevented from reaching the ideal state of pure being because of ignorance, which drives it into the labyrinth of illusion. We tend to blindly seek our true self, but we can attain it only through the proper perception of life's ultimate goals. The individual soul recognizes the boundless reality existing forever behind the cosmic mass of illusion and realizes that its own true nature is identical with the pure being. This self realization makes it achieve the ultimate freedom. Through Raju, who eventually renounces his physiological needs and offers to sacrifice his life for the well being of others, Narayan invites us to share the infinitude of Raju's liberation, which unifies him with the cosmos. In the novel, Raju attempts several possible explanations for the moment of events in his life. His agonizing self-awareness shows his faith is preordained destiny. Joy and sorrow, reward and punishment, all are the outcome of one's deeds done in the past. The actions of human beings affect, direct, and condition their lives. Every action, good or bad, has a subsequent reaction. Understanding the supreme goal of life leads to the attainment of uncorrupted bliss. R.K. Narayan tries to drive home this point to a sincere reader through the most common incidents in the guide. The novel ends on a note of unresolved problem. Whether Raju dies at the end of the novel or not, no one knows. However, the real essence of the novel lies in the fact that the readers witness Raju doing for the first time something without any profit for himself. And the moment he accomplishes this selfless task, he renounces his previous life and achieves the state of moksha and eternal bliss. Hence, the reader sees Raju's rebirth and not his death. Like a phoenix, Raju annihilates the past and recreates himself. Even as a knave, Raju always retains the sympathy of the reader. This follows from Narayan's own attitude of humorous tolerance and humane understanding of individual debility and faults, which pervade all of his work. A moral lesson might be gently hinted, but outright condemnation has never been part of his intention. Therefore, it might even seem that Raju's misconduct actually grows directly out of his adverse circumstances. He is a victim of the coming of modern ways of life to Malgudi, but finally his salvation is worked out through a renewed contact with the traditional ways of life that remains still preserved in Mangal village. So thank you very much for listening me carefully and with patience.